Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all well. Looking forward to a week packed with learning and growth for us all. Let me just adjust this so it's a bit higher. Okay, hopefully that's a bit better for everyone concerned. Okay, so good morning, Richard. Good morning, all those that are still joining us. We're in the third Mishnah of Ethics of the Fathers, Pirkei Avos. The Mishnah says as follows: Antigonus ish soicha kiba Shimon Hatzadik. Antigonus received from Shimon Hatzadik. We spoke about Shimon the righteous last time, who met Alexander the Great, and Huaya Omer. So this is the statement of Antigonus, and he was the last individual teacher and transmitter of oral tradition before the pairs, the Zugos, which is at the time of the destruction of the Second Temple. This is after the men of the Great Assembly, just before we had Hillel and Shammai and the rest. So he says as follows: don't be, he says, like a servant that serves his master on condition that he receives a reward. Ella, he says, rather, hevu ka'avodim, be like a servant, hamashamshem es harav, shlo amanas lekabel pras. Rather, you should be as like a servant that serves in order not to receive a reward. Okay, now we're going to stop there. Sorry, let's just finish the Mishnah. V'yamari shamayim aleichem, and the fear of God should be upon you. What is Antigonus speaking about? So we are aware that we are, as Jews, we live lives which are full of responsibility. That's what gives life meaning. That's what gives life significance. Isn't that right? So therefore, the Mishnah is addressing a fundamental concept, and that is that we all know that as one of the basic tenets in Judaism is that we believe in the next world. This world is a stepping stone, a corridor before we enter the world to come, and therefore we earn our reward for the next world. In this world, we create the world to come, as it were, by becoming more godly. So he seems to be saying something that seems to fly against this, and that is, don't serve. Don't be a person that serves like a servant in order to receive reward. But we just said 2 seconds ago, didn't we, Michael? Who I bumped into in a petrol station. Lovely to see you, filling up. So the question is, we know that there's the next world. We know that Jews believe that we earn our place in the next world, in this world. So how can it be that we make a statement, that don't be like a servant that serves his master in order to receive the reward? But that's what we're doing here, is it not? Clarice, what do you think? Eitan, you okay? So, sorry, did I miss anyone? Estelle from Stanmore, formerly from Woodside Park. Lovely to see you, looking so well. How are the flowers? Peter, Richard, lovely to see you. So let's go straight to the answer. So if we think about relationships, let's take a husband and wife, or a parent and a child. There are 2 ways that we can approach any type of interaction with another person. One way is to turn around and to say, I'm willing to interact with that person, and I'm willing to give in order that I get. That's one way. In other words, as much as I will receive, that's how much I'm willing to give. So really, when I'm giving, it's not really giving. It's in order for me to be able to gain from that relationship. A servant serves his master because he has to, and in order that he should stay in the good books, he does as he's told. So what this Mishnah is coming along and telling us is that we all know that there is a real danger of relationships being nurtured and developed where it is all about what I get from it. Am I a net gainer? Am I benefiting from this relationship? Those relationships, we know, sooner or later are doomed to fail, because as soon as you don't feel that you're receiving, that you're getting from the other person, then you walk away. You don't want to have anything to do with the other person. Think about it. In a relationship with your spouse, with your kids, it can't be only one-way traffic, because sooner or later that relationship is going to weaken, is going to fail. It's got to be that I'm giving because I want to give, and then you give because you want to give, and it's cyclical. And in fact, this is what Rav Dessler speaks about. He says, you love where you give, and you give where you love. The word ahava means to give. So I give where I love, and I love where I give. The more I give, the more I love. The more I love, the more I give. And so on and so forth. So we go around in the circle. And therefore, says Rav Dessler, my giving is not contingent and dependent on you. I give because I want to give and because that's my role in this relationship. Therefore, I don't stop giving, or I don't give half-heartedly just because you're not giving. That is a death knell to any relationship. Rather, I keep giving because I want to give in this relationship. I want to make you happy. I want you to find joy in this relationship. I want to do anything and everything for you, and therefore, whatever it takes, I'm willing to do. That is the way that we should approach our relationship with God. And that is the fundamental thing that Antigonus, who stood at a real crossroad in Jewish history, a time when the men of the Great Assembly were gone, and therefore this was the next chapter in Jewish history, and therefore the baton was being passed. And he was saying there's a real danger if you're going to go through the drudgery of life, and it's all about, okay, I know that it's tough, I know that it's, it's challenging, but at the end of the day, I'm going to reap the rewards in the next world. Then you're not going to really live. To live is to give. And therefore, when it comes to our relationship with the Almighty, we give in order that we feel that we are truly living. And therefore, it's not about, I'm doing this, I'm going to invest in this relationship, I'm going to do this mitzvah in order to get reward. It's true that we know that we do get reward ultimately, but that's not the intention and the motive when I am doing it. I want a relationship. I want a close relationship with God. It's got to be selfless. It's got to be self-effacing. It's got to be dedicated, devoted. And therefore, we know through King Solomon, "Kamayim ponim el ponim kein lev ha'adam," that every relationship is eventually mirrored, hopefully, by the way we behave. So therefore, the way that we interact with the Almighty, so it will be mirrored in the kindness and blessing that he sends us. So it is with our spouses, with our children, that eventually, giving and loving is infectious. And sooner or later, the other person, the hardest of hearts, melts away, and we find that people become more receptive to our giving, to our loving. And that's the way the relationship should be towards God, but also towards other people. A fascinating concept that we find in this Mishnah. We're going to stop there for today, and then we'll carry on with Yossi ben Yoezer, and we'll go on to discuss some of these fascinating concepts. We're in the first chapter of Ethics of the Fathers. Great book, highly recommend it. It's a bestseller. Okay, let's go on to Psalm 23, Estelle's favorite. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Memorial prayer. Adonai Elamim Zachar Es Nishmai Shalchol Yelamam and Balarachamim Zatzvim Zetzek Nefechel Yelamim Mitzvah Zachim Sishmasam Yanucha Mishmasam Mishalom and Amar Amen. Long life wishes to all those that have Yortzeit, all those that are in the year. Misha Beracham Sein Ramis Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarach Repes Achelim Va'avo Shanim Mispalim Bavoram Bez Chazak Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleihem Lachem Lafosam Yishlachem Mefushim Shemaim Lechalevim Besach Shach Yisah Refuas Nefesh V'Sakov Hashavak Makriv Nama Amen. Wishing everyone well. I'm sure David's feeling very well after yesterday. Michael with the football, fantastic result. at long last, we're heading towards being able, please God, to lift up a silver cup, and I don't mean the Kiddush cup. Have a great day, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. All the very best. Exciting tonight. We have the AGM, and it's online, not to be missed. All the